Good morning. You can see it's morning. May not be morning when you're watching this, but we're going to go with that. We're going to talk today about the lab that you're going to be doing this week, which is the Weird Ruler Lab. And it's a weird ruler because things like this vacuum cleaner might be your ruler. See? Vacuum cleaner. Now, part of the joy of this lab is figuring out exactly how you're going to measure things and what you're going to measure. So, for example, considering my vacuum cleaner, I could consider measuring one vacuum from top to bottom like this. Or, maybe I'm going to go full extended vacuum, and it's going to be kind of top to bottom like that. Or maybe it's kind of side to side, or maybe it's vacuum handles that I'm measuring. Part of what you have to do in this lab is be very careful about writing down how you are measuring and what you are measuring. For example, again, continuing the example really, here is a chair. You may notice that it is a chair in the physics lab, like many of the chairs in the physics lab. I want to measure this chair in vacuum cleaners. There are a lot of ways I could do this. I'm going to say one vacuum cleaner is kind of top to bottom, like so. And one chair, I'm going to say is the width of the chair. So I'm going to measure it, I got one vacuum, or maybe measure it like this. One vacuum cleaner. Kind of push this aside. You can use your own judgment here, but I'm going to call that a little less than 2. Maybe like 1.9 vacuum cleaners. The idea is to try to make a reasonable measurement of this. And it's kind of hard, you'll notice, to measure something that's roughly the size of a vacuum cleaner with a vacuum cleaner. One of the challenges presented, and this is something we're going to want to talk about as we do the lab. So you notice I could have measured the chair many other ways. I could have measured maybe the height of the chair instead, from wheel down here all the way up to the tippity top of the back post. I could have measured from the wheel to the seat. Again, want to make sure that you are careful and precise in how you are measuring and what you are measuring. Now, once you have been careful and precise in this, we're going to want to actually record these things. So we're going to want to do stuff in OneNote. You can see OneNote kind of hanging out here. I've made, seriously? Oh well. I've made a page. Zoom in this way. You can see I've labeled it the Weird Rulers Lab. And part of what I'm going to want to do is write in tiny letters, my procedure. And, so what I'm measuring with, it's not how you spell measuring, what I'm measuring and how I'm doing it. And we're going to want to kind of keep a good record of those. Probably you're not just going to want to write that, because that's not really super detailed, but you want to fill in actual details for yourself. We are also going to want to make, Alt-tabbing like crazy, a nice table of stuff. I'm going to do this in Google Sheets rather. You can do it in Excel or something else that works for you. So I'm going to open a new Google Sheet. Looking at this, I'm going to wait for it to load for 5 years. Going to make this really big. So I'm going to want to try to make a couple things here. So, maybe make a column of objects. Probably trial 1. Trial 2, trial 3. It's important we want to repeat our measurements, always a good thing. Maybe our average. At some point, I'm going to want to make the actual measurements. So I'll go actual length. We'll go in centimeters. So whenever we're using, a spreadsheet, we want to make sure that we either put in words or numbers, not both. So when I'm recording this, I'm going to make this, so I said it was about 1.9 vacuum cleaners. It's always going to be measured in vacuum cleaners. So I could put up here, trial 1 measured in vacuum cleaners. So that's the unit. I know that it's there. Since the whole thing is going to be in one unit, for all of your measurements here, probably not the most important thing to worry about. We'll say we measured it again. We got 1 3/4, maybe 2. And so now I'm going to want to average these. Because I don't want to have to trust, I want to make use of the computer. I'm going to use the function in here. I'm going to put an equal sign in, type the word average, open parenthesis, and this is going to say, all right, I want to average some stuff. And I'm going to select the 3 cells before this and close my parentheses. So I'm telling it to average these 3 cells. Yay. And then I would actually take a measurement, put it in there. Now, once we have done this, and we've got a whole, sheet full of stuff, we're going to copy this spreadsheet and put it into our notebook. because we want to be keeping a good record of these things, and that includes making sure that our measurements and analysis wind up in here. As part of the lab, we're also going to want to make a graph, and we'll go over that during class. Hopefully this gives you a good sense of starting. Be prepared to choose a ruler, and choose wisely.